Hey, Luke. Hey, Anthony. Yeah, so if you could open your Google Sheets, it's attached, it's untitled. You don't need to title it anything. It's just a blank Google Sheets. And we're going to do all our work in there today. So it's going to look like this. You're going to fill out the spreadsheet, and the spreadsheet's going to calculate our interest rates and all the information we know. And we're going to be following along on page 387 in your book. So if you want to get your book open to page 387, that way you can follow along what we're doing. I'm going to demonstrate how to set up the Google Sheets for you, and then you're going to have to use the Google Sheets to answer questions 1A, B, C, 2A, B, and 3A, B, and C. So the questions on that page. But I will help you out with the setup of the lab and how we get information and what all the information means and all that. And hopefully you should be able to just read the information and answer the questions after you have it set up. You will be turning in your spreadsheet to me. However, you can just, if you open the one in the actual classroom, you can just hit submit and it will send it to me. You don't have to attach it or anything. If you don't follow those instructions, then I won't get it and you need to submit it to me some other way. But yeah, so we'll start in a minute here. Give a few more people a chance to get on if they want to. If not, they'll be watching this later because they're not going to do this on their own. All right, so just again, we are looking at the attached Google Sheets. Please use the one that's attached to the assignment for 4.8. I know it unlocked earlier this week because I didn't schedule it, but it is our credit card lab. So I am looking at that assignment. So make sure you look at that on the classroom. Open the Google Sheets to it and open your book to page 387. Once you have that open, let's just kind of go through the setup of everything and make sure we understand what's all happening here. So this here is our blank Google Sheet, and you're pretty much going to copy that first table on page, 387. You're going to copy that table down and make it look like your Google Sheet. So if you're looking at cell A1 here, it should say the word month in there. So go ahead and write month in that cell. Cell B should say balance. You should probably spell it right. Cell C, you probably have to resize. I did this earlier, so mine's already resized, but this is your planned monthly payment. Again, you can just grab right here and resize that so it fits everything in it, which you're going to want to do. D is interest. E is your new balance. And F says your total interest. So let's look at the problem that it's actually saying. So now I'm going to be reading what's above it, just so we have an idea of what goes where. So it says when you use a credit card, you are charged interest each month on the balance in your account. So you're borrowing someone else's money. You need to pay for that privilege. Therefore, they charge you what's called interest on your credit card. And you're going to use this spreadsheet that we're going to make to investigate how your credit card is working and how the charges are happening and what you can expect if you decide to do things the way the book is telling you that, hey, we can do this for this account. Depending on your life situations, you might adjust this, but this is actually going to be a fairly useful little program that you're going to write here in this Google Sheets document that will actually help you out in real life if you have trouble with credit cards and need to make payments on loans and stuff like that, which eventually all of you probably are, whether you're going to take out a loan for buying a car, which is called a lease. Maybe you're going to take out a loan for a house that you're going to eventually buy. Maybe you're going to have credit card payments. Things like that, just to build up good credit. It is advised to use credit cards just to build up good credit so you can be eligible for loans down the line and buy houses and things like that. So it is about personal finances, which is probably going to be very relevant in all of your lives. So let's look at it. We are going to use a credit card to buy a $450 airline ticket. So we're going to spend, and I'm just going to come over here and I'm going to just write some notes just so it's on the board. We're spending $450. Again, you have this in front of you. I just don't want to bring up multiple windows in front of you. Your interest rate is 1.8%. So your rate here equals 1.8%. And right away you should know that, hey, I don't want to use a percent for things. I want to use 0.18. I want to use that as the decimal. I'm sorry, that's 18%. I want to move that decimal twice, make that 0.018. So just so you know, our rate is going to be using this number here, not that number there. And it also tells you that you make $40 monthly payments. So we have a monthly payment of $40. So just keeping information organized that I pulled out of that chart, and go from that. I don't know how to fix your keyboard batteries. If they died, just get new batteries, or get a keyboard that doesn't use batteries, and just plug it in. But try your best to keep up. Yeah. So over here we have our month. So our first month, let's fill in our first month. So first month is going to be called 1. That is our first month. The credit card balance for our first month is going to be $450 because that is how much we charge for our flight ticket. So that's our balance. We owe $450. We are going to pay this off at $40 per month. So every $40 we're going to make a payment towards this 150. And that's not just going to take off this 150 because, again, each time I don't pay that 450, I'm going to be charged interest, so I'm going to have to owe more money. So that's not necessarily going to just go down $40 each month. It's going to go down $40, and then it's going to go up how much interest I still owe. So this is our interest here. Our interest is going to be found based off of our interest rate here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this 450, right, that 450, and we're going to multiply it by our interest rate to figure out how much interest we're paying. But we're not going to do it like that. We're going to use the spreadsheet for it. So what we're going to do is we're going to type in a function. And remember, whenever you type in functions, you always use the equal sign first. So we're going to type in equals. And then we want to do 450, this value right here, times our interest rate, which is over here. So you could just do times this number, or if you actually wrote this in a cell, you could just select that cell, which is what I did. But remember, times is asterisk. Sorry. Shift 8 is times for asterisk. And then you want to multiply it by your interest rate. And again, you want to use the decimal for it. So you can either do 0.018 there, or you could actually, if you typed it over here, you could just select that cell. But your book has it set up this way. So I have my interest rate. So what this number means is that after 1 month, I owe $450 plus $8.10 interest. And I'm going to pay off 40% or $40 of that. So it's going to go down 40 and then it's going to go up 8.1. So my new balance is going to be that 450, which again, I'm going to write this, right? I'm going to write it as numbers first. It's going to be that 450 minus your $40 that you paid plus your $8.1 that you got charged interest. But again, this being a spreadsheet, we're going to use a formula to get all that in. So we're going to write equals, and then 450 is over here, then minus $40 for the monthly payment, and then plus whatever the interest was. And enter is going to give you our new balance. And that makes sense. 450 minus 40 gives you 410. 410 plus $8.10 gives you $418.10. And then you have your total interest over here, which right now is going to be equal to 8.1. So for now, we're just going to say equals the 8.1 because that's how much interest we had. And we're going to have a different function under here after we get started. So our second month, which for some reason your book wants you to do this, put in a function for that, but your second month's going to be 2, and honestly you could just that repeats, but you could just write 2 there, and then you can highlight both of these and drag down, and it gets you each month. But we'll write it as the function because that's what the book is asking you to do. Either way, it's not going to matter. But the function is going to be whatever the first month is, or the cell above it, plus 1. Right? Because we're just adding an additional month. So that's going to be 2. And then you can sit here and you can actually just drag the 2 down. It's going to do the same function. Whatever this month is, the cell above it, plus 1 is going to be 3. And we want to drag that function down. I don't know how many... I'm going to drag the function down, which was on 2. I don't know how many times you're going to need it, so we're just going to drag it down a bunch. And again, that's using this little box in the corner here. Just grab it and drag down. This cell is our balance. Unfortunately, our new balance is not 450. We paid $40 off of it and got this, so our new balance is going to be over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write that function over there. So I'm going to say our new balance is equal to whatever this cell is. And again, I'm going to, oh, I did that wrong. Whatever this cell is, and that's going to come up there. And again, you're going to drag that down eventually. However, you're going to have no good reference points there right now. You can see how we still have a function in each of these cells. It's coming up right here, but it's reading that cell that we want to copy. And each month it's going to be a different, the next one down. So once we fill in here, like if I fill in something here like 6, right, it fills in over there now too. But 6 is not going to go there. Our monthly payment is not changing. You're still going to make $40 payments every month. So we really don't care what any of that is, except it's 40. It has to equal 40 each time. You're not going to be paying more. You're not going to be paying less. The problem states, hey, you're paying $40 a month. That's coming from just the information given. Our interest rate is going to change each month, so we're going to drag that formula down. Again, if you drag it down 1, hey, now our interest rate is 7.53, $7.53, because our balance is less. We've been making payments, so they're borrowing less money, so they're charging you less to borrow that money. And we can go ahead and drag that down there. And again, you're going to get 0 values here because we don't have a value over here yet. And that's going to get filled in eventually. Your new balance, that function is also just going to be dragged down. And that's going to fill in a lot more because everything was reading off of the E column there. Remember, this here was the E column. We're reading off the E column here. Over here, you're reading off of the B column, which is reading off of the E column. So you get that filled in. And then your total interest is not going to be equal to this. It's actually going to be equal to this number plus whatever's in this cell here. So you're going to write equals whatever this number is plus no, we don't want that number. We want the other version of it because we're reading off of this number somewhere else. We want this number plus whatever the next payment is. So this one here. So we're going to add these ones up. I believe that's what we want. No, I think we do want this one. Is that what it is? F2 and D3. I don't know, the book tells you what function this is. We want F2, which is that one, plus D3, which is that one. Yeah, that makes sense. We want our old interest plus our new interest. And then this is going to change. It's going to read the one above it. You grab the little box, Jason. I'll show you here. You want the one above it plus your new interest. And then the next one will take the total from before plus the new interest, and it'll just keep adding. So when you want to drag down, you're going to grab this little box in the corner here, and you're going to pull all the way down, and you're going to get that. And it should fill in. If you're having trouble doing it, double check all of your functions. Make sure things start with equals. Make sure you're selecting the correct boxes. Make sure you're not putting spaces anywhere. You need to do exactly what I did. You cannot deviate from that. What you can do is rewind this video and watch me do it again. I'm not going to sit there and go through how we did all of this again. It's getting recorded for a reason, so you'll have time to go back and look at it, but double check every little detail you have. Make sure you have the correct functions. Make sure you're using the correct notations. Make sure you don't have like double equal signs when you meant to put like a plus sign or something like that, because they are the same key. But it is available for you to watch over and over again once it gets done. So here is just making the table. And again, I don't know how much of this you need to drag down. You probably don't need to have negative values because once you get down to here, you don't owe anymore. It's paid off after this month. So Can you go over the balance part? This part, we have 450 to begin with, and then we're going to just copy over whatever the new balance was from before. So we're going to have equals E2 in the second box, and then you're just going to drag down. And what it's going to do is it's going to copy that formula in the pattern, so this one here is going to equal E3, this one will equal E4, this one will equal E5, E6, and so on. Once you get your table made, you're going to start answering your questions, and you can answer your questions in some random cells over here as long as they don't interfere with your table. I am going to be checking your table for your functions, so when you do submit this to me, I should be able to click on here and I should be able to see the function is written properly. Those are things that I'm going to be looking for, and I'm also going to be looking at the answers that you have. So for example, let's do 1A here. Excuse me. Let's answer 1A here. And I'm just going to type the answer in a cell. If you need to make it bigger, you can make it bigger. But you're just going to go through and answer each of the questions. So 1A says, in what month is the balance less than the monthly payment? So you're just going to look at your chart. Here's your balance. Here's your monthly payment. When is this number smaller than this number? Well, that's 450, that's 40, that's 418, that's 40, that's bigger than 40, 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 less than 40. What month is that? That is the 13th month. So 1A is equal to month 13. Right? And then we can do 1B off to the side there. 1B says your last payment is the balance plus the interest in the month you found in part A. What is the amount of the last payment? So our last payment is not going to be $40 because we owe less. We owe this much, which is $26.90, plus however much interest was charged before, which was this much right here. So what you're going to do for this one, I mean, you could set it up this way. Get another column in there. And then we have one for numbers here. And this answer would be 113. Over here, I just wanted to say 1A so I know what I'm talking about. And then 1B here, we can say, well, that's going to be our balance. So that's going to equal our balance plus whatever the interest was last month, plus that. So I owe a total of $28 and that much cents. More than welcome to round that because these numbers are kind of gross, but that's what your 1B is going to be. And then what is the total interest paid on the account? So total interest is over here. On the 13th month, your total interest is 57. So 1C is going to equal total interest, which is that. And you can get your answers from there. So that is how you do the questions. You can just set them up like that if you want to and go on. Does anybody want me to repeat anything that they missed so they don't have to go back and find it? But this is your assignment for today. This isn't working. I can redo it all if you want, Jason. I'm not sure what part is not working for you. If you could narrow it down for me, that would be great. Just be careful on what you're selecting. Just be careful on how you're typing things. Yeah, I did not use a dollar sign at all in here except over here where I was writing it. Do not use dollar signs. Dollar signs are another operator in functions here. So be careful with that. Don't use dollar signs. Just use um, whatever it is. I understand everything is in dollars. I mean, if you want, you can just be like, hey, this answer is in dollars. But a dollar sign, I believe, is another operator in here. Just like the asterisk is multiplication. It does something else. I don't remember exactly what, but it does something. So don't use dollar signs. It's a good call, John. I hope it is, Anthony. That's why they made this program, is to make functions and stuff easy. But I'm glad you think that. And again, when you come to, even when you get to like question 2A or something, I don't know why caps lock is always on. 2A, and it's going to ask you to just change your monthly payment to 60, so you can just change that to 60. And I guess we dragged down from there, didn't we? I don't know. We could just drag it down, and it changes everything up for you. So I just changed 60 and then 2B. I don't know what it says. Change the monthly payment. No. What is the total interest paid on the account? So you're going to look for what month it ended in, which looks like it's going to be 9 because here we start getting negative numbers. So month 9 total interest is right here. So 2B is going to be F10. And it's that much. Be very careful what you highlight, Anthony. When you hit it, you're going to grab this little box. Make sure your cursor looks like that little site, I guess. I don't know how it's like that little plus sign. And you're going to click and hold, and you're going to highlight down, and it fills it. Do not highlight anything else. Whenever I type, it auto puts a dollar sign. Same. And yes, you have to put the function in. So you have to put what I told you to put in. So over here, your function is this. It's not just 8.1. If you have 8.1 here and drag down, it's just going to fill in 8.1. You want it to fill in the function because this is going to be different every line. Yeah, do 3. You're just editing this. How do you put in functions? It's what we just went over the whole video. I will do it again, I guess. Delete all the stuff I did. That's a function. This is 40. That's a function. If you're looking at your book, Anthony, on page 387, it tells you exactly what functions to put in as long as you are typing in the same cells that it has. So here, 1 month, we just type in the number 1. There is no function there. It's just 1 because that's our first month. Our balance is 450. There is no function there because that's our original amount. And again, don't put in dollar signs. Just type in 450. Monthly payment is just 40 because that's how much we're paying per month. Interest is going to be calculated using this rate, which is our simple interest problems that we did yesterday, really. But it's going to be for 1, so you don't have a time. Here we're going to have 0.8 or 0.018 times 450. But you're not going to type in 450 times 0.18. You're going to type it in as a function. You're going to say equals to say, hey, I want to start a function. And you're going to take this cell, so I'm going to click on this cell. I want to take that 450, and then I want to multiply it. So multiplication is Shift 8, and if you look up here, it's filling in for you too. So it has B2, then we have an asterisk, and we want this number right here. So you could, if you typed it somewhere, you could select that cell for it, or you could just type in that number, 0.018. Then you're going to hit enter, and it fills it in. Our new balance, no, I didn't want that yet. Our new balance is going to be equal to our original balance minus the $40 that we paid off plus the 8.1 that we got charged for interest. So it's going to be this cell minus this cell plus this cell. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say equals this cell and select that by clicking on it. Then the minus sign, this cell, and then I'm going to select that by clicking on it. And then I'm going to have a plus sign, this cell. And I'm going to hit enter after that, and I get my new balance. My total interest for the first one, the function, is just going to be, thanks Anthony, is just going to be equals whatever this value is. So I'm just going to select that cell. And that's my first line. It should have a number here, it should have a number here, it should have a number here. This one here should have a function up here. This one here should have a function up here, and this one here should have a function up here. And make sure they all start with an equal sign. Make sure you don't have any strange spaces, you don't have any other equal signs, and so far, right? I got 0 for interest. Do you have equals capital B2 asterisk 0.018? Double check that that is written in your f of x line for your interest. This is exactly what has to be in there. After you got your functions in, we're going to fill in this one here. This one here, we're going to put in as a function as well, but it's just going to be the next month. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say equals, because I want it to be a function, my month before it plus one more month. So I get the next month. So it's whatever this month was plus another. And that brings you 2. And what you can do is you can drag that down. I don't know how far you need to drag down. But again, when you are dragging it down, you are selecting the cell by clicking on it. Then you're going to click and hold the little box. And you're going to drag it down like you're highlighting stuff. It's going to have that outline, and when you let go, it should fill it in. Yes, you do question 3. New balance, this one here, is going to be equal to this balance over here. After 1 month, you have a new balance at the end of the month. So at the start of the second month, your balance is whatever this one is. So we're going to say equals this cell here and hit enter. Your payment is still going to be $40. So what I'm going to do, you're not changing that payment. I'm just going to drag the 40 down, and all of those are going to be 40. There is no function in any of these. It's just the number 40. Our interest rate is going to be the same formula, so I'm just going to drag that down. Our new balance is going to be the same formula, so I'm just going to drag that down. Did I drag this down? I don't know if I dragged that down. There, I didn't drag that one down. Your balance is going to follow that formula and drag that down. This one here is a little weird. You're going to say equals, and you want this value here plus whatever your new interest was, which is this cell right here, plus that equals that, and then you can drag that function down. Once you've dragged it down, you've gotten the information you need to start answering your questions. Question 1 says, when are your payments? When have you paid off your airline ticket? When have you paid off the $450? So you're going to come over here, and it's the month before you start getting negative numbers. So that's going to be month 13. To get your last payment amount, because you were making payments of $40, you need to know what your balance was. So you have to pay off this $626.93 plus your new interest rate, which is this number here. So you got to add those together. So what I did is I put a function that said, hey, add these two together. So B14, which is right here, this number, plus B13, which is this number here, and that's where our 28 came from. C is asking for what was the total interest that you paid. So you paid a total of $57 on top of that $450. So this airline ticket, because you used your credit card, cost you $450 plus another $57 in interest. So it really cost you, the actual price of it would be equals $450 plus that. So it actually cost you $507.42, just because you used the credit card, and they charge you interest for it, and so on. So kind of did that twice. Are there any other questions we got here? And I got Peter's and Anthony's turned in. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. Yes, do question 3. I just didn't do it. You're on your own for your questions here. I wasn't going to sit here and do all the work for you. But yeah, do question 3. Question 3 is asking you to change your monthly balance. You don't have to make a new spreadsheet, you can just edit this one. Your formulas are going to be the same, and that's what I'm looking at. Just be careful. If you used formulas here, they're going to change this. Right, when I change this to 60 and I go down, note that these numbers changed. So you can do it that way, or what you can do is you can just copy your whole spreadsheet into another sheet and then change it. But just be careful. Make sure you don't screw up your other numbers when you're messing your table around. So there's no further questions. I'm going to end it there. You do have a copy of this recording, so if you want to go back and see me explain it again, it's all recorded there. You do not have school tomorrow. You do not have school Friday. You do not have school Monday. So we will not live stream until Tuesday. If you could get this done by Tuesday, that would be great. Just saying, the box thing isn't working for me. Can you do it one more time? When you use the box, you want to make sure your cell is clicked on. Make sure that's the only cell highlighted right now. Then you're going to go over to the box, click and hold, and then drag down. If you're not getting anything, it might be because you didn't fill in any of the other cells as well. You see how I only got one there? That's because this cell isn't filled in with anything. That's because this cell isn't filled in with anything. It's because this cell's not filled in, and there I'm starting to get them. And this cell's not filled in. So don't panic until you see that everything is filled in. If you're getting errors, if it's saying something like, I don't even know. It might say like a reference error or something like that. Then your formula is wrong, and you need to go look at your formula again. And again, make sure you don't have dollar signs, make sure you don't have weird spacing, make sure you're calling on the right cells, make sure you have an equal sign to start everything for a function, and so on. But yeah. If you have any other questions, please give me an email, and I'll try my best to help you out there. But if not, our time is pretty much up here. So keep at it, keep trying it, and I will talk to you on Tuesday if I don't hear from you through email. But yeah, thanks for coming and hanging out. Enjoy the day. You've got some pretty nice days to be outside. Just don't hang out with other people. So with that, I'm going to end the stream and talk to you Tuesday. Have a good break.